Imagine needing your birth certificate, but wondering exactly where to start. Whether you need it for ID, travel, or legal purposes, ordering your birth certificate in New Hampshire online has actually never been easier. In this explainer, we'll guide you step by step through the process, the state guidelines, and the digital systems to ensure a completely smooth, headache-free experience. Okay, let's dive into our roadmap. We'll be breaking this down into 5 easy parts: basics and eligibility requirements, preparing your required documents, the step-by-step ordering guide, costs, fees, and timelines, and finally, special cases and extra help. Starting with Section 1, Basics and Eligibility Requirements. Let's figure out who can actually get one. So right out of the gate, it's absolutely crucial to understand that New Hampshire operates a heavily regulated closed record policy. This is all about protecting privacy. So who is actually allowed to jump online and order one of these? Well, by law, specifically under New Hampshire RSA Chapter 5C, any birth record under 100 years old is legally restricted. You literally have to demonstrate a verified, direct, and tangible interest. Put simply, you can't just look up your neighbor's birth certificate for fun. You have to prove a recognized legal relationship to the person named on that document. So let's look at exactly who makes the cut. Obviously, if you are the registrant, meaning the person actually named on the record, you qualify. You just need a valid photo ID. Immediate family members like biological or adoptive parents, spouses, and legally appointed guardians also make the cut. But they have to provide a matching ID and supporting paperwork, like a marriage certificate or court letters of guardianship. There is, however, one very strict exception to keep in mind. Biological parents of a child who has been adopted outside of their biological family, they do not possess a direct and tangible interest under the law, and they cannot access these records. Let's move to Section 2 and see how this builds. Preparing your required documents, gathering your info. Look, before you even open a web browser to start this process, you need to gather some specific information. You want to ensure your online application isn't just immediately rejected, right? The online portals are going to demand exact vital details to pinpoint the correct file in the state's massive secure database. You'll need the registrant's full legal name at birth, the exact date of birth, the specific New Hampshire city or town where the birth happened, and both parents' full legal names. And a quick heads up here, that critically includes the mother's full maiden name. If you don't have these exact details, the search simply won't work. On top of the birth details, you have to prove you are who you say you are. A valid, unexpired government photo ID, think a driver's license or a U.S. or foreign passport, is the absolute gold standard here. But what happens if you don't have one handy? Well, New Hampshire does offer an alternative workaround called Form VR-206. This form lets you submit 2 alternative documents instead, like utility bills, pay stubs, or maybe a W-2. But honestly, be aware. Using the Form VR-206 alternative requires manual coordination with the clerk's office. It's way more involved than just a simple portal upload. So having that standard photo ID is vastly preferred if you're going the online route. All right, Section 3, the step-by-step ordering guide. Let's start navigating these portals. Now we're in the action phase. Once your data and your ID are ready to go, it's time to execute the actual online order. And here's where it gets interesting. New Hampshire uses this fascinating dual-track digital architecture. That means you actually have a strategic choice to make. Pathway A is the centralized state track. If you use third-party portals like VitalCheck or Go Certificates, your order gets zapped straight to the Division of Vital Records Administration in Concord. Now, Pathway B is the decentralized municipal track. By using platforms like EB2Gov or Permitium, your order routes directly to the local town or city clerk where the birth happened, or really any local clerk on the state network. Regardless of which pathway you choose, the process itself follows 4 highly secure steps. First, portal initiation and data entry. That's where you type in those exact vital specs we gathered earlier. Second, you'll declare your relationship to the registrant and your intent, like are you getting this for a passport, for a new job, or just for personal records. Third is identity verification. And this is where the security really kicks into high gear to protect your privacy. The state-level portals often use a real-time LexisNexis background check to verify you, while the local portals will usually just require you to securely upload a clear image of your photo ID. Finally, once you're verified, you just submit the application and your payment for processing. Now, what's really interesting about this next part is how your choice of portal impacts everything else. Section 4, Costs, Fees, and Timelines. Remember that pathway you chose just a second ago? It directly impacts your wallet. Under New Hampshire law, the base statutory fee to search for any vital record is $15. And listen, it's really critical to understand this is a non-refundable search fee. You pay it even if they search and literally cannot find the record. If they do find it, Great, you get one certified copy included. But look closely at the transaction fees here. The centralized state route through VitalCheck slaps on an extra $10 to $12.50 in convenience fees. Meanwhile, the municipal route, going through a local town portal like EB2Gov, charges a maximum of $1.75. And honestly, some towns charge absolutely no transaction fee at all. Ordering locally saves you significant money.
And it's not just the cost. The difference in speed is even more dramatic. If you route your order through that centralized state office in Concord, the standard processing timeline is going to take roughly 20 business days. That's practically a month. But if you route your online order directly to a local municipal clerk, the processing happens at a blistering speed of just 2 to 3 business days on average. It's a night and day difference. So the crucial point here is this. If you want your document quickly, you absolutely want to use the municipal portals. But you have to pay close attention to how you check out. Avoid ACH or electronic check payments. Using a direct bank transfer introduces this really frustrating 5 to 7 business day bank clearance hold on your order. Just always use a standard credit or debit card to guarantee that fast 2 to 3 day turnaround. Moving on to our final stop, Section 5, Special Cases and Extra Help. We'll cover apostilles, gaps, and commemoratives. There are a few random historical quirks and niche situations that could totally disrupt this process if you aren't ready for them. For example, did you know that births from 1949 and 1950 are entirely excluded from New Hampshire's statewide digital network? It's kind of crazy, but it's a known archival gap. If the person was born in either of those 2 years, a random town clerk down the road cannot retrieve their file electronically. You have to route your order either directly to the central state office in Concord or specifically to the exact municipality where the birth physically happened. Otherwise, your online application will just be instantly rejected. Now, what if you need this birth certificate for international use? Like maybe you're applying for dual citizenship or you're planning a destination wedding. You'll need something called an apostille. The workflow for this is pretty straightforward. First, you order your certified copy, just like we've been discussing. And here's a nice bonus. New Hampshire birth certificates actually do not require notarization before getting an apostille. You just submit that original certified copy directly to the Secretary of State's office in Concord. Standard mail-in processing usually takes about 2 to 4 weeks, though, professional expedited courier services do exist if you're in a massive rush. And this next one brilliantly illustrates some of the unique options available. For a touch of history, you can actually order an heirloom birth certificate for $25. It's this beautiful 11 by 14-inch decorative document featuring custom keepsake quilt artwork by a New Hampshire artist named Karen Holman. A portion of that fee even goes directly to funding state historical archives, which is pretty cool. Just remember, this one is strictly commemorative. It's meant for framing on your wall. It is legally useless if you try to hand it over at the DMV or the passport office. The information provided in this explainer is based on current guidelines as of August 25, 2026. Always verify details with official state resources, as procedures and requirements may change over time. This explainer is for informational purposes and should not be taken as legal advice. And there you have it. You now have the complete roadmap. You understand the direct and tangible interest standard, exactly what ID to prep, and how to intelligently navigate that dual track system to save yourself both time and money. The whole bureaucracy of it all is no longer this confusing black box. So armed with all this knowledge, the only question left for you is, which digital pathway will you choose to unlock your vital records from New Hampshire's vault? Thanks for exploring this with me today, and best of luck with your application.